This is a trio, or in most markets it was sold as a Kenwood R1000 communications receiver. Again, it's another 1980s shortwave receiver. This was quite a good quality one. Covers from long wave up to 30 megahertz. Does AM, of course, and SSB. It has two bandwidths, you can see there, wide and narrow. It has an attenuator control, volume and tone, noise blanket, dimmer. You've got the power button there. Radio has a clock built into it, and it can be set as a timer for the receiver to come on and off at predetermined times. And above the main tuning knob you've also got an analog indication of the frequency. No memories, it's quite a simple receiver. You switch the bands in 1 megahertz chunks on the knob here, and then you tune on the main tuning knob. You've also got sockets for headphones and a record, a fixed audio output for record. And if we turn the receiver around quickly, there we go, and we'll see that on the back panel here we have the antenna inputs, medium wave antenna, a ground terminal, the HF antenna, which would be sort of a wire antenna, high impedance. We've also got an SO239 for the HF antenna. We've got an external speaker socket, a remote socket, which I'll look at, not quite sure what that does. I'm assuming that you could use this in conjunction with a transmitter and it would mute the receiver. That was often the way. Some receivers had a 12 volt input fitted here, so you could actually run the receiver off 12 volts. This one doesn't have it. You've got the main socket here and an internal fuse. You might notice here there's an extra little 3.5mm jack. This receiver has been modified with a board. It was done about 20 years ago, but it will output a signal which will allow it to decode DRM, Digital Radio Mondial. There's not an awful lot of it about now, and most people that receive it do so using SDR receivers. But if you connect this up to a computer sound card using the Dream software, you can actually decode DRM, and I used it quite successfully for a number of years. I've had this receiver for a long time. It should come with a carry handle, and I have got the handle which screws in there. But basically I removed it because when the receiver was on the shelf, that the handle was in the way, so I've still got that. I could put it back on. This receiver is pretty much as I bought it a long time ago, but it came to me, again, another cosmetically challenged. It's quite scratched, as you can see here. The case really needs a repaint. The front panel isn't too bad. It's in reasonable order. But because this is such a good receiver, it would probably be worth spraying the case and spending a bit of time getting it up to spec. Some of the other receivers I had, like the DX200 I've shown you in earlier videos, at the end of the day, whatever you do with that, you're not going to make a brilliant receiver out of it. But these R1000s are still useful today. They'll still hold their own. They've got very good receive capabilities. The filtering isn't bad, and they're very simple to use, so they're worthwhile hanging on to. So that's it for the introduction. In the next video I'll take it into the shack and plug it in, and we'll have a quick listen around the bands, and I'll also show you an inside view of the case.